If you only visit Montreux and Lausanne in Canton Vaud, you'll be missing out on some of the most unique and underrated experiences this region has to offer. From sleeping in a treehouse surrounded by nature, to wine tasting in a vineyards, and exploring hidden landscapes and traditions. I spent 3 days uncovering these hidden gems across Vaud, and these are the places you should visit if you want to experience the real Switzerland. My first stop is Aigle, a region that is deeply rooted in wine culture. Tucked between the Alps and the Rhone Valley, Aigle is defined by its vineyards with rows of vines stretching across the hills against a dramatic mountain backdrop. Did you know? Every year, 99 million litres of Swiss wines are produced, but only 1% is exported. A trip to Switzerland is essential if you want to taste Swiss wines. And if you time your visit right, during the Cave Ouverte Vaudoise, this region comes alive, offering rare access to step inside the cellars, meet the winemakers, and experience Swiss wine at its source. I visited Cave Lausanne and Montreux, a family-run estate that perfectly reflects the deep-rooted wine culture of Aigle. Established in 1883, this vineyard has been passed down through 5 generations, carrying forward decades of knowledge and experience to produce wines that reflect both the terroir of the Chablais region and the family's heritage. Over the years, the winery has built a strong reputation with award-winning wines and recognition in Swiss wine competitions, as well as winning first place in the handcraft category at the Swiss Wine Tourism Awards and being nominated for International Wine Tourism distinctions.
Je m'appelle Yvette.
Bonjour, moi c'est Alain.
Enchantée. Comment vous êtes devenu un vigneron? Est-ce que c'est une tradition familiale, une passion de vous ou autre chose?
On avait déjà un domaine familial. Vous avez déjà la graine qui est un peu semée. Et puis finalement, c'est un choix. Moi, j'ai choisi soit j'avais la viticulture ou le chemin de fer. C'était l'un ou l'autre. Dans le chemin de fer, je devais apprendre les langues. Et puis les mathématiques, c'était plus mon truc que les langues. Donc finalement, j'ai appris vigneron parce que je voulais pas apprendre l'anglais. Aujourd'hui, je parle couramment l'allemand. Je me débrouille en anglais. Et puis finalement, voilà. Mais après, c'est devenu une passion.
Comment s'est passé comme journée pour vous?
C'est des journées assez variées. Puis les travaux dépendent toujours de la saison. Une journée typique pendant les vendanges, c'est de réfléchir pour tout le monde. Où est-ce qu'on met l'équipe? Quelle parcelle on vendange? D'organiser la logistique pour les vendanges. De réceptionner le raisin, de le presser, de nettoyer le pressoir. Il y a des tâches qui sont répétitives, puis il y a des tâches nouvelles. Et puis en même temps, on accueille tout le temps quelqu'un. Il y a toujours quelqu'un qui vient, un client qui vient chercher du vin, ou vous êtes là.
Ah oui.
Donc il y a toujours, c'est toujours entrecoupé de beaucoup de surprises, de rencontres.
Qu'est-ce qui rend unique de vin de cette région?
C'est l'adéquation entre le climat, le sol et le vigneron qui fait qu'on arrive à sortir des vins d'exception. Il y a un peu de passion, certainement.
Ah oui, absolument, oui. Merci beaucoup d'avoir pris le temps de partager votre expérience et votre passion.
Avec grand plaisir.
Now, it is time for lunch at Lapin du Paradis. Located just opposite Château d'Aigle and set within a historic building linked to the castle, it blends rustic charm with its vineyard surroundings. The cuisine here is bistronomic, a refined take on traditional Swiss and regional dishes made with fresh, seasonal ingredients sourced locally. What really elevates the experience is a strong focus on wine pairings with a curated selection of wines from the surrounding vineyards designed to complement each dish. After a satisfying meal, the tour continues at the iconic Château d'Aigle, a true symbol of Aigle's wine culture and identity since the late 12th century. The castle houses the Museum of Vine, Wine and Wine Labels, one of the most important museums dedicated to wine culture in Switzerland. This museum explores everything from the work of the winemaker in a vineyard and cellar to broader themes like biodiversity, ecology, art, and even a culture of wine celebrations. With interactive displays, historical tools, and an extensive collection of wine-related objects, it gives you a deeper understanding of how wine has shaped the region over centuries. Walking through the castle, you are not just visiting a historical monument, you are stepping into the story of Aigle itself, where history, wine, and culture are all deeply intertwined. In the evening, I had dinner at Caveau du Clat, a restaurant that stands out for its unexpected fusion of Swiss and Thai cuisine, before I head back to Hotel du Nord, centrally located and the perfect base to unwind after a full immersion of the region. The next day, I travelled to Échalons and started the day with something every chocolate lover would dream of, a chocolate hands-on workshop at On the Choc. The workshop itself lasts 2 hours. We are guided through the process of working with chocolate, from learning how to properly temper it to pouring and molding it into your own creations. Step by step, the molds are carefully filled with tempered chocolate, rotated to evenly coat the inside, and then left to cool and harden before being assembled into the final sculpture. While waiting for the chocolate to set, you are taken through the story and origins of chocolate, and there's also plenty of tasting involved along the way. It is a surprisingly delicate process that combines patience, precision, and creativity, giving you a whole new appreciation for the craftsmanship behind Swiss chocolate. And of course, the best part is living with your own handmade chocolate creation at the end. For lunch, I chose Hotel de Ville d'Échalons. For more than 18 years, this restaurant and brasserie has been serving market-fresh cuisine rooted in local terroir and seasonal ingredients, becoming one of the best-known dining spots in the Gros de Vaud region. The cuisine blends classic Swiss and French influences with a more modern, refined approach, featuring carefully prepared meats, seasonal produce, fresh fish dishes, and regional specialties elevated through contemporary gastronomy. The Échalons region is deeply tied to another essential part of Swiss culture, grain and bread making. This region is known for its vast agricultural landscapes, wheat fields, and long farming traditions that have shaped local life for generations. Spread across 4 floors inside a historic rural house dating back to 1790, the Musée du Blé et du Pain takes visitors through more than 10,000 years of the history of grain, flour, and bread making in Switzerland. As you move through the museum, you'll discover traditional farming tools, old milling equipment, interactive exhibits that explains the journey from wheat to bread step by step. The exhibition follows the 3 key professions behind bread making: the farmer, the miller, and the baker, giving you a deeper understanding of how essential these trades were in shaping Swiss rural life. Depending on how much time you spend exploring each section, the visit usually takes around 1 to 2 hours, making it a surprisingly engaging stop that goes far beyond what you might expect from a bread museum. After learning about the history, the experience continues with a visit at the Centre Collecteur d'Échalons and Le Moulin d'Échalons, 2 places that sit at the heart of the agriculture identity of the Gros de Vaud region, often nicknamed the Granary of Switzerland. The Grain Collection Centre is one of the largest in Switzerland, where cereals delivered by local farmers are sorted, dried, and stored before being distributed across the country to mills and oil producers. Connected directly to it is the Moulin d'Échalons, an artisanal flour mill that has been operating in its current cooperative form since 1903. Owned collectively by local farmers, the mill continues to preserve traditional milling techniques using machinery that has been running since 1947. What makes the visit especially interesting is seeing how deeply connected the entire process is to the region itself, from the wheat fields to the transformation of local cereals into flour supplied to bakeries across Vaud. Walking through the mill, you really get a sense of how important agriculture still is here and how these traditional industries continue to shape the identity of Échalons today. For my final stop, I checked into Les Cabins de Marie, a collection of treehouse stout cabins designed as a peaceful escape in the middle of nature. Built as a concept focused on reconnecting with simplicity and the outdoors, it transforms my childhood dream of sleeping in a treehouse into a real experience with cozy, wooden interiors elevated above the ground, surrounded by forest silence. What makes the stay even more special is the wellness aspect, with an open-air hot tub and sauna tucked into the natural setting, allowing you to fully unwind in the landscape. Dinner and breakfast are delivered in a basket filled with regional products from local cheeses and freshly baked bread to seasonal produce and homemade specialties. The stay is also home to friendly farm animals, adding to the peaceful rural atmosphere and reinforcing the feeling of a quiet countryside retreat. This is without a doubt one of the most unique and memorable accommodations I've experienced in Switzerland. On my final day, I travelled to Vallée de Joux under heavy rain with thick clouds covering the valley. So instead of exploring the outdoors, I headed to the Espace Horloger, a museum dedicated to the history and craftsmanship of watchmaking in Vallée de Joux, often considered the birthplace of some of the world's most prestigious Swiss watches. Opened to the public in 1996 inside a former watch manufacturer building dating back to 1917, the museum was created to preserve and showcase the valley's extraordinary horological heritage. Throughout the visit, you are guided through the evolution of timekeeping, from early mechanical clocks to highly complex modern complications, while discovering the craftsmanship behind Swiss watchmaking. Inside, you'll find historical tools, intricate watch mechanisms, interactive displays, short films and demonstrations explaining how these little tiny components come together to create precision watches. The museum also explores the many professions involved in watchmaking, giving visitors a deeper appreciation of the human skill behind the industry. You can easily spend around 1.5 to 2 hours here. Since the rain wasn't letting up, I decided to check into my hotel early, and honestly, Hotel des Horlogers ended up becoming an experience of its own. In fact, the hotel itself has become one of the architectural landmarks of Vallée de Joux. Located in Le Brasses facing the Riceud Forest, the hotel traces its origins back to 1857, when it was originally known as the Hotel de France, welcoming travellers passing through Vallée de Joux during the rise of the watchmaking industry. In 2003, it was acquired by Audemars Piguet and later completely rebuilt, reopening in 2022 as the modern Hotel des Horlogers we see today. The hotel itself feels like a piece of architecture blended directly into the landscape, with zigzagging structures and massive panoramic windows overlooking the valley and the Riceud Forest. I ended up spending most of my afternoon enjoying the hotel's wellness facilities, and honestly, it was the perfect place to slow down. Between the spa, sauna, hammam, and panoramic views overlooking the misty forest, the entire atmosphere felt incredibly calming. To end the day, I had dinner at a hotel restaurant where the menu highlights seasonal regional ingredients and refined cuisine inspired by the terroir of the Vallée de Joux. The experience felt both elegant and deeply connected to the region, with every dish reflecting the surrounding landscape and local produce. And waking up the next morning to the breakfast buffet was just as memorable. A generous spread of fresh breads, pastries, and local cheeses, all enjoyed with panoramic views of the mist-covered valley. It was the perfect slow ending to a trip that showed me a completely different side of Switzerland, one rooted in craftsmanship, local culture, and slower experiences that many people overlook in the canton of Vaud.